Prices were high in the market in Medina at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And someone came to him and said, "O Messenger of Allah, impose price control. The prices are too high." He said, "No. We are accustomed, when once the Messenger of Allah has taken a decision, we accept. That's it." But this man came back a second time. And he came back a third time, indicating that yes, prices were very high. It was causing pain and suffering for him. But on all three occasions, the Prophet ﷺ rejected the request for state intervention in the economy to control prices. He rejected state, if you're a socialist, please listen carefully. He rejected state intervention in the economy to control prices. Things like minimum wage legislation is a state intervention in the economy to ensure that people get at least a minimum wage. The Prophet, Allah's blessings be upon him, said, "No, we will not fix prices." 3 times he said no. But he said we can pray to Allah to bring down prices, indicating that Islam, the religion which came with Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, Abraham, the religion which came with Moses, Musa alayhi salam, the religion which came with Dawood alayhi salam, David, the religion which came with Sulaiman alayhi salam, Solomon, the religion which came with Jesus alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, the religion which came with Muhammad, Allah's blessings be upon him, is a religion which wants to establish and maintain a free and a fair market. Do you hear that, Mr. Trump? A free and a fair market with no state intervention in the market to alter the market, to control the market, because then it won't be a free market. And no corrupt practices in the market, so that it's no longer a fair market. This is what the religion which has come from Allah has ordained, a free and a fair market. In a free and a fair market, in which you have to plant if you want to reap. If you can work but you do not plant, then you will not reap. It is those who cannot plant. And there are those, for example, who are widows, who are orphans, who are disabled, who are entitled to state aid, and that is zakat. The state takes from everybody zakat or social welfare tax, and the state maintains those who cannot plant. But all those who can plant must plant. You don't go sit down home and do nothing, fiddling with your fingers and expect to eat roti. So those who can plant must plant, and when you plant, only then you can reap. وَأَلَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. This is Islam. That mankind is entitled to nothing except that for which you toil, you work. So a free and a fair market in which those who plant would reap, and those who do not plant would not reap. It's called free enterprise, I think. And Allah can now intervene in the market, not the state. Allah can intervene. And He can take from some and He can give to others. And so he can distribute wealth and he can redistribute wealth. And he says that in addition to this, he has established certain laws, for example, laws of inheritance. Why? كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ الدُّولَةَ بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ, so that wealth would not circulate only amongst the wealthy. كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ الدُّولَةَ بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. That economy is a sick economy in which wealth circulates only amongst the wealthy. When the rich are permanently rich, then the rich will rule the poor. That is oppression, and that can end with slavery. Around the world today, since modern Western civilization stamped its powerful boots on the face of the earth, around the world today, wealth no longer circulates through the economy. Around the world today, wealth circulates only amongst the wealthy. And therefore, this is oppression. The rich are ruling over the poor are permanently poor, and they're becoming poorer and poorer, miserably poor, until they reach a state of destitution. This oppression increases to such an extent that the Prophet said, Allah's blessings be upon him, a man will pass by a grave, and he will roll on the grave, and he would say, I wish I were in the grave rather than the dead man, not for religious reasons, but because of biting oppression, one form of which is economic oppression. A young man in Tunisia, I think he had a university degree, couldn't get a job. And he had fruits, and he had a little cart, and he was selling fruits to try to make a livelihood. And the government sent the police to say, no, you cannot sell except you have a special permit. And this man put fuel on his body and burnt himself to death. And that is what sparked off the uprising in Tunisia, and then in Egypt, and in Libya, and in Syria, and so on. And they call it the Arab Spring. No, it was like summertime in Australia, and all the places parched dry, and all you need is somebody to go and light a little fire. Massive fires all over Australia. That was the Arab Spring. They sucked the wealth out of the Arab world. They left it as dry as the Australian countryside in summer, and all they needed was someone to light a little fire, and the whole thing will catch fire, and they call it the Arab Spring. And so why is it that all around the world today, Mr. Trump, why is it that wealth no longer circulates through the economy? Why is it that the rich are now permanently rich, and why is it that the poor are imprisoned in permanent poverty? From the day that the Islamic Republic of Pakistan was born, like every other Muslim state in the world today, the rich have remained rich, and the poor have remained poor. Wealth has not circulated through the Pakistani economy like every other state in the world today. But no other state declares, except few, that we are an Islamic republic. Egypt doesn't say that. The King Farouk says, he said Islam was not born in 1947. This was King Farouk. So why is it, Mr. Trump, that wealth is no longer circulating through the economy since modern Western civilization took control of the world? Our answer is that the Western world, led first by Britain and now led by the United States, and after the Great War, when the West is destroyed in the Great War, read my book on the subject, then Pax Judaica will take over from Pax Americana, but there still be Zionist control over the world. Since this came to the world, this shadow with three parts that the Quran refers to in Surah Al-Mursalat, since this shadow came upon the world, this is when wealth no longer circulates through the world. And we say that the shadow, of course, is that of Dajjal, the Antichrist, Al-Masih al-Dajjal, the false Messiah. And the reason why he's doing this is because he wants to rule the world.